In astonishment, I widened my eyes, gazing down at my daughter Emily. It was a momentous occasion, her first time addressing me as Mom. Over the past year, Emily, my husband's daughter from his previous marriage, had kept a certain distance, never warming up to me. Yet in this moment, she uttered the word I had longed to hear. The emotions overwhelmed me, and tears were on the brink as she extended her right hand towards me. Nestled in her open palm was a ring, upon closer inspection, a wedding ring seemingly sized for a woman. As Emily, the child I didn't give birth to, lowered her gaze and trembled, she knelt beside me, revealing the origin of the ring. "It's from your real mom. Do you want to meet her?" My husband was away on a business trip, leaving just the two of us. Loneliness crept in, and I gently asked Emily, should I leave? Nonchalantly, she responded, "Nah, I want you to throw it away." Perplexed, I listened to Emily's story, and anger began to well within me. Should I leave? Holding my 10-year-old daughter tightly, I reassured her that I would respect her wishes. Stroking Emily's tearful head, I whispered, "Tell that person tomorrow that I'll do as she wishes. I won't forgive anyone who makes my daughter cry. They'll get what they deserve." I am Catherine, 29 years old, a stay-at-home mom who got married last year to my husband, Bob, 37. It's the second marriage for both of us, and we met at work. Despite the typical senior-junior relationship, Emily, Bob's 10-year-old daughter, hadn't warmed up to me at all. Emily's real mother, Linda, had a tumultuous relationship with Bob, marked by heavy drinking and multiple affairs. Bob revealed that they would have divorced sooner if not for Emily. Linda disappeared when Emily started second grade, leaving only a divorce paper with a ring and signature on the table. For a year after that, Bob raised Emily on his own, a task he took on after being my supportive senior at work. Feeling a strong connection with Bob and wanting to support him, I took on some of his tasks and worked late alongside him so that he could get home earlier. However, I wasn't the only one offering support. Everyone admired Bob for his competence and kind personality. One day when the school called because Emily had a fever, I was the one making a fuss about him going home. I urged him, "Please go home to her. It's so sad she's sick." Even when faced with a meeting in the afternoon, I offered to make an apology call on his behalf. Fortunately, my voice echoed down the corridor, reaching my dad, who happened to be passing by. He immediately let Bob go home to be with Emily. This incident brought Bob and me closer than ever before. My parents, aware of Bob's reputation and character at the company, didn't object to our marriage despite his previous divorce. Emily, although not warming up to me initially, became a crucial part of my family. Even after a year of our marriage, Emily hadn't fully embraced me. However, one night, as Bob left for an international business trip, Emily finally spoke to me. With disbelief, I looked down at her as she uttered, "Mom." Actually, it was the first time she called me Mom, and my vision blurred with tears. Sniffing back my emotions, I turned around to face her. In her outstretched right hand was a small ring. Upon closer inspection, a wedding ring, presumably belonging to a woman. "It's my biological mother's," she explained. I wiped my hands on my apron and crouched down, acknowledging the significance of this item. Even if her biological mother had been a terrible parent, she might still hold importance to Emily. With Bob away on his business trip, I gently asked, "Do you want to see your real mom?" However, Emily shook her head and made an unexpected request. "I want you to throw this away." Baffled by her sudden decision, I questioned, "Why?" Her response revealed a disturbing encounter. Emily shared that her biological mother had met her several times on the way home, inquiring about her new mom. The unsettling part was when Emily recounted her mother's words, "Your new mom is pretty wealthy, huh? I heard she's the daughter of the CEO where your dad works." Chills ran down my spine, and I felt overwhelming revulsion. Emily continued, "My mom said your new mom is pretty wealthy, huh? I heard she's the daughter of the CEO where your dad works." The revelation took a darker turn when Emily disclosed her mother's demand. "My mom met with my dad. She told him to either send me over or bring money, but it seems like Dad doesn't have much money. The revelation that Emily's biological mother, Linda, planned to talk to me next and instructed Emily to throw a fit about not wanting to go to her place left me seething with anger. Tears streamed down Emily's face, and my heart broke for her. Should I leave? The thought crossed my mind, but instead, I chose to embrace my 10-year-old daughter, who had reached a heartbreaking conclusion. Stroking Emily's tear-streaked face, I whispered, "Tell her tomorrow that you'll do as she wishes. I can't accept someone like that as a mother. She made my daughter cry, and she's gonna pay for it." After Emily fell asleep that night, I called Bob to confirm the disturbing details. It turned out to be true, and Bob, apologetic, revealed that he hadn't shared this information earlier to spare me worry. Learning about Linda's ambush on Emily was news to him too. I inquired if Emily wanted to live with her real mom, even though she acknowledged Linda's shortcomings. However, Emily expressed a desire to continue living with us. Bob's anger was palpable even over the phone, and he shared his plan to meet Linda along with Emily on the next school holiday. Urgently, he asked if I could wait until his return from the trip, but I couldn't stay quiet any longer. She made Emily cry, and I reassured Bob not to worry. The next day, as I tidied my room, Emily returned from school. I asked about her encounter with Linda and whether she delivered the note. Emily confirmed the meeting was set for 10 a.m. on Saturday. I suggested we buy some new clothes for the occasion, emphasizing it might be the last time we see Linda. Despite initial uncertainty, Emily expressed her determination not to see someone causing trouble for Dad and me. As she happily complied with my instructions to wash her hands and have some snacks, I watched her energetically exclaim "Yep" and head to the bathroom. Dressed in recognizable high-end brands, Emily and I headed to the designated coffee shop. Normally, I wouldn't pick such clothes, focusing on what Emily loves. However, today it served as a challenge to Linda. I reminded Emily to trust me no matter what was said. With her firm nod, we confidently entered the coffee shop, where Linda greeted Emily with admiration for her lovely clothes. Despite Linda's instructions, Emily chose to sit next to me, ignoring her mother's words. Linda's face betrayed a slight twitch, but she quickly plastered on a smile to conceal any hint of irritation. Returning the gesture, I deliberately placed a heavy paper bag and a branded purse in front of Emily, emphasizing their precious contents. Linda's eyes betrayed a change in color, greedily staring at the paper bag, likely assuming it held a luxury purse and money. I ordered coffee for myself and a cake set for Emily, setting the stage for a delicate conversation. After exchanging introductions, I broached the topic. "You want Emily back, huh?" Linda affirmed, "Yes, indeed. She's such a lovely girl. I just want to raise her on my own." "I see," I responded. "I heard from Bob that you, Catherine, truly love Emily like she's your own daughter." Linda acknowledged my sentiment, to which I continued, "Well, it breaks my heart to think of taking Emily away from someone like you. So, I was thinking maybe you'd give me something in return." Feigning ignorance, I tilted my head and asked, "Something in return? Like what?" "You know what I mean," Linda replied, her impatience apparent. In response, I maintained an air of unfamiliarity with such matters, enjoying my coffee during the ensuing awkward silence. Emily, who had been engrossed in her phone, was gently urged by me to try her cake. "Eat up, it's delicious," I suggested. Linda clicked her tongue in silent annoyance. After a brief silence, Linda leaned in and impatiently stated, "I mean money, just money." "And money, you say?" I purposely responded in a slightly louder voice. Linda frowned inside, clarifying that she expected compensation for giving up her precious daughter. "No," I interrupted firmly, "I'm a mother too. I know how precious a child can be. I have no intention of snatching Emily away from you, Linda." Linda sat there, mouth agape, and Emily, seemingly surprised, dropped her fork, staring at me. Retrieving the fallen fork, I handed it back to Emily, who might have felt betrayed. Despite the pain of that thought, since Emily had nodded in trust earlier, I decided to reciprocate that trust. Confused, Linda exclaimed, "What on earth are you talking about?" I assured her, "If both you and Emily wish, I will return Emily to you. I'll even help persuade Bob." Linda, in disbelief, demanded a moment to process, looking anxiously at Emily. Almost accusingly, she questioned, "Emily, you don't want to be separated from Catherine and your dad, do you?" Emily looked at Linda, then at me, and finally down at her smartphone. Lifting her face, she replied, "Either way is fine," dropping her gaze to her phone again. Linda slammed the table in frustration, surprising Emily. "Well then, I want child support. $10,000. No, that's not enough. Give me $50,000 to start." Linda's desperation became apparent as her patience waned, revealing her true colors. I maintained my composure, leaning back in my chair with crossed arms. "It's not up to you to decide, Linda. There should be a proper calculation for that. Discuss with Bob about paying more. It's not me who's gonna pay," I asserted firmly. Linda, expecting an easy financial gain, grew more frustrated, but I stared back, unwavering. This was just the beginning. I intended to push her into a corner to ensure she never showed up in front of Emily again. "Did you tell me through Emily that you do as I wished?" I questioned, and Linda reluctantly affirmed. "You haven't done anything. Your father is a CEO, isn't he? He can afford it." Linda's voice grew louder, and I whispered, "People are watching," causing her to glance around and quiet down. I sighed and continued, "I checked with you first, right? You wanted to take custody of Emily, said you wanted to raise her. I agreed to help. Is there a problem?" Linda's lips trembled, and I pressed on, questioning her plans to support Emily. "Child support is meant for Emily's necessities, not for your luxury. You know that's ridiculous." Linda retorted, "Bob left me for a younger woman. Emily, if it comes to that, you'll suffer with me. If you don't want that, beg this woman to pay me." Her desperation was evident, a consequence of always relying on others and never making an effort. She felt betrayed, but it was a consequence of her own actions. "Are you saying this just for the money, even though you have no intention of raising Emily?" I challenged. Linda remained silent, glaring at me. I warned her, "I'll harass you until you pay up. I'll go to Emily's school, scream outside your house, make sure everyone knows you took her from me." Linda growled, showing she was beyond caring about appearances. "That's enough," I declared, reaching out to grab a bag in front of Emily. From it, I pulled out a small voice recorder and turned it off, showing it to Linda. "That's a clear threat. After hearing this, no one would want to give you custody. It's not about whether you have money or not, it's beyond that." Linda jumped up in frustration, attempting to snatch the recorder from me, but I swiftly pulled it away. As she lunged further, a hand from the side grabbed her wrist, and both Linda and I turned to look. "Dad." "Bob, why are you here?" Linda was shocked, and I shared her curiosity. Bob, with a cold look, warned Linda, "If you try to harm my wife, I'll sue." It was the first time I had seen Bob so assertive. Emily exclaimed, "Daddy," and threw her arms around him. Bob gently patted Emily's head, explaining that despite being on an overseas business trip, he returned during a family crisis. Addressing Linda, Bob stated, "You really should realize that as a mother, our daughter no longer accepts you. You're acting in ways that make you despised as a person." Although his voice hinted at anger, Bob spoke calmly, dealing a heavy blow to Linda. Linda clenched her teeth, looking down, her body quivering with frustration. She muttered, "At least," reaching out to protectively pull a paper bag towards herself. "It's fine," I responded casually. "I was actually gonna sell these books at a used bookstore later. If you want them, they're yours." Linda's surprise was evident. She checked the contents and quickly pushed them away, declaring she didn't want such dirty old books. It was the reaction I expected from her, and I sighed internally. Emily, on the other hand, picked up the fallen book, dusted each one off sympathetically, and returned them to the bag. Crouching next to Emily, I explained, These books were given to me by your grandpa. Even though he's no longer with us, I thought he'd be okay with giving them away today. But since Linda doesn't seem to want them, would you like them, Emily?" With a smile, she agreed to cherish and read them. "Some of these are first editions worth thousands of dollars each," I added, surprising Linda. Bob firmly grabbed her shoulder, making her sit back down. Linda pleaded for the books, claiming I said I'd give them to her. Bob intervened, insisting they now belonged to Emily. Linda, desperate, begged Bob to convince me, citing her need for money. Bob responded, "I don't care, but I will cover the bill for our drinks here." He suggested we get ready to leave, turning to Linda once more, warning her against harassing his wife and daughter again. After apologizing for the commotion at the register, we left the cafe. Bob had urgently returned from his business trip, and the smartphone Emily always fiddled with had been her means of communication with him. Since that day, Linda never showed up in front of Emily or me. However, after Bob returned, Linda visited him once. Evicted from her apartment, with worn-out clothes and 2 bags, she pleaded for help. Bob refused, advising her to live more responsibly. From that day on, Emily and I became inseparable, like a real mother and daughter. She helped me with household chores not out of obligation, but because she genuinely enjoyed spending time with me. We shared countless stories, and Emily confessed that she had always wished for me to be her mom. When I asked why she had kept her distance, she admitted fearing the eventual separation from Linda. I reassured her that she didn't have to worry, as I am her mom now and would always protect her. Our bond deepened, and Emily replied with a radiant smile, making me cherish our connection even more.